15 years in the NFL, multiple-time Pro Bowler, Heisman winner, College Hall of Famer, and now, high school football coach, about to become high school football coaching legend. His son's the quarterback, and he is joining us now live right now. Carson Palmer in his office right now, around the clock. So you were at USC, and then all of a sudden, your first coach, Paul Hackett, doesn't work. Here comes Pete Carroll. So you're a young guy. That Raider roster's got a lot of young guys. What was your first impression of Pete Carroll? You had a great year. I mean, Pete kind of took you to new heights. But give me your first impressions of Pete and what really resonated with you.
Just the energy he brought to the program. There was such a vision that was laid out in front of us from the jump, and there was a clear vision. He knew what he wanted. He knew what he expected. We knew as players what to expect from him and what he expected from us, which is just, at the end of the day, what you want. When you're the Raiders, you just want some stability. It has been a very unstable environment for a very long time, and he instantly gives you that stability that organization needs.
When you're coaching in high school, and you've had good coaches, there's been a lot of guys, Bruce Arians, Pete Carroll. What is the one thing you will take from Pete as a coach? The one discipline, the one culture setter that you'll take from Pete?
There's not one thing. I had a chance to spend 5 or 6 hours meeting with Pete before I took this coaching job at Santa Margarita High School, and I took 12 things. I still am texting him, asking him certain things, how to run this, how to do this. So he's not a one thing guy. He doesn't do one thing well. He brings tremendous energy. He's super mature. He's got success, so he's got credibility. But the things that I look and that I'm hanging my hat on are, there were simple rules, but Pete isn't a ton of rules, super disciplinarian. There's a handful of rules. They all make a lot of sense. They're really easy to follow. And if you can't follow those rules, then you probably shouldn't be on his team or really any team. But there's not one thing that, when I think back about my experience playing with him, I learned how to be a leader. I learned how important it is to focus on the ball and how important it is to go get the ball on defense. He always talked about that, securing it, never giving it away, and attacking it on defense. He talked about respect for your team, respect for the officials, respect for your opponent. He's the greatest coach that I ever had the chance to play for. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's everything you want in a coach, and the Raiders organization. This is an exciting day, obviously, for the future. I know it's a 3-year deal, maybe a 4-year deal, but he gives you instant credibility, stability, maturity. And he's been there and done that. And what he did in Seattle was amazing, going from, the Matt Hasselbeck, Sean Alexander, creating the Legion of Boom, developing the Legion of Boom, being there long enough to see those guys leave and move on, and then still getting the playoffs, with Russell Wilson at quarterback and beast mode in the backfield, and really reinventing that team after the Legion of Boom, to bringing along Geno Smith. I mean, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves for the success and the stability that he brought to Seattle.
You played in a conference championship game, NFC championship game. Go back to that moment. Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts now been in a couple. Mahomes been in a lot. Josh Allen's experience. Jaden Daniels, this is his first. That was your first. You tell me. Anxious? Did you worry about being so amped up that can affect sort of, your mechanics? Go back to your NFC championship game. What was it like?
Yeah, Jaden's got nothing to lose. I mean, he's playing with house money. All the pressure's on Philly. He's got all the hype. Everybody's going to be focused on him. Obviously, that entire defense, that entire stadium, the energy is going to be electric. But, man, he's out there playing as a rookie thinking, I've got a whole career ahead of me to get back here. I'm just going to let it loose, cut it loose. And that's the one thing when you watch him play, he doesn't play within a mold. He plays outside the system a lot, which is really unique. And a lot of guys don't have success doing that. He is just playing with so much natural instinct. And his one of his best attributes, and one of the things he's looking to do first, is take off and run with the ball. He's such a good runner with the ball. And it's not because he's a 4-4 guy. It's because he has the ability to get down and cut and change direction and make people miss. So I think in his mind right now, he cannot wait for this game. He knows all the pressures on Philly. They're at home. They've been there. They're expected to continue to play through this game and into the Super Bowl. And he's playing with, a young team, a first-year head coach in his first year as a quarterback. I think he is excited. I think he's going to let it loose and have an amazing game and possibly knock off Philly and head to the Super Bowl as a rookie and be the first to ever do it.
You had a year in Arizona. It's still the best year quarterbacks ever had there. You threw for 4,600 yards, 35 touchdowns. In the history of the Chicago Bears, they've never had a quarterback equal the 1 year, your greatest year. It's the greatest year Arizona's ever had for a quarterback in a season. You also, I think you were the first quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards for 3 different teams. So you had success in multiple places. All that said, Chicago has struggled with quarterback. They've never had a 4,000-yard quarterback. They've never had 30 touchdown passes. You did it all sorts of teams. So obviously that's a lot of you because you did it with different people. Maybe some of it is the weather. Maybe some of it is it's always had a defensive culture. But there is something to unlock here. You know Caleb Williams pretty well as a former USC guy. How does Ben Johnson, this is a defensive culture. It really is. You think Bears, you think defense. If you were taking over Caleb Williams in Chicago, cold weather, rough outdoor games, are there any secrets to getting over the hump for a historic franchise that can't get over the hump at that position?
Yeah, I mean, a historic franchise that hasn't had success at that position, but they've never had the athlete or the player and the competitor that Caleb is at that position. So it's a first time that organization has had somebody like him. You combine him with what you watch Jared Goff do, who Jared Goff is an incredible player, but not the athlete that Caleb is. So I just, when I first heard that Coach Johnson was getting the job, Caleb's got the blueprint. He can sit there and watch hours and hours and hours of film of watching watching Jared Goff run that system. And then you combine the addition of all the attributes that Caleb has that Jared doesn't have within his repertoire. I think the sky's the limit. I think Ben is phenomenal. What he's done, he's coming up with concepts that people have not seen or run in the NFL.
Yeah,
there's some things he's doing in against man defense in the play action game. They're route combinations that I just haven't seen before, which is really rare. A lot of stuff in the NFL gets recycled and then it trickles down through college football. But Ben is an innovator. He's coming up with new stuff. And like I said, I mean, Chicago's got a quarterback and an athlete back there that they've never seen run out on that field in their uniform and their helmet. So I think it's a perfect combination. And I think the blueprint is right there for Caleb. It's so nice when you get a new head coach that comes in and you can watch that system on film and study that playbook and study the cut-ups that he's going to be studying of Detroit and Jared Goff doing it. And I just think that's going to energize Caleb.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.